Let me start. Yes, game of Tensors will start in SpacePussy Network soon. We almost prepared and finalized two proposals, which we briefly described in latest community call. But let me repeat this about Pussy token distribution in SpacePussy Network. Proposal about affiliation of distribution, and also allocation of some amount of tokens for game itself and rewards for development of Tensor in Pussys. So these two proposals almost done, and it will be proposed to SpacePussy validators, and we will reach out community and validators very soon. And also we are heavily testing contract of Cybertensor itself. Also, me and Sergey, we forked repository of Tensor subnet template, and rewrote him changing Tensor dependency to Cybertensor dependency. I mean, like chain itself and library and SDK written in Python. So this repository is almost done, and will let community, mostly developers, part of community, to create their own subnets based on template, on prepared template, configure it with the network and all needed parts. And we realized that we would like to start a game of Tensors like very simple, almost without any preparation. That what does that mean? That we will start without any subnet, and community will have bounties to prepare their own subnets and deliver some code, or organize parts of community to for for different subnets. And this fair start, light start, will allow to understand in what subnets community is interested. Me also part of community, all team, all of us, and will allow us to contribute and to participate in game it's in the same way. And also, I'm working on upgrade, because as soon we will launch game of Tensors game, and later we are going to bring this Cybernet also to bostrom network, and I'm preparing few upgrades, starting with the first one. So as you know, for a long time there wasn't any upgrades for code base. I'm very happy that everything was stable and working during these months. So going to bring updates to ABC, to WASM dependencies. So yes, validators community soon will need coordination, and I'm going to ping them as upgrade will be ready, and so a lot of movements. Game will start soon, upgrade will be released soon. What else? Yes, I prepared some tooling researched all repositories on GitHub related to node operators job. I mean, like there is common issue with state of all Cosmos SDK-based blockchains, and issue is that size of any node in any network grow very fast, and there is not good tooling to cut historical state out of disk. So there was few solution developed by few teams during these years, but all of them not so much don't have such much maintenance on the code. So I just looked about latest forks and working tooling, and created Cyber Pruning repository that for bostrom and SpacePussy Network will allow the node operators, validators to more successfully and smoothly operation, like disk size, free disk space, allow them to free disk space. Yeah, so this is like all latest updates. Also, I'm done.
Nice. Quick question for you, just related, because I think the game of Tensors is addressable and actionable by the community. What's participation going to look like? You said contributing code, and creating their own subnets, and really anyone can do that, but is there more insight to what that looks like now, or should we wait for the launch?
As we see now, there will be two different kind of subnets. It will be content-based subnets. That means that. So let me explain difference. These two kind of subnets, code names, for example, for their types, manual and automatic. What we have in Tensor and what we will have in Cybertensor and Cybernet, same subnets of nodes which do some work. Each of these nodes in all subnets have protocol how to query another node in this subnet, ask some question about work done, take this answer and rank with some kind of logic this answer, and then assign some weight to this node. And so this continuous process of asking another participants of subnets about work that they did, and ranking, evaluating this answer bring us to a graph of weights, where each participant of this subnet assign weights to another one participant, all participants in this network. And this process goes automatically. So because this algorithm is defined and implemented code of this subnet, and all guys, operators of nodes of this subnet assign weights to themselves using code. So this is like independent of them process. They also can assign manually, but basic idea was that this happen autonomously. So and the same type of subnets will exist from day zero in Cybernet, and already exist. And there's another type of subnets that we would like to bring to Cybertensor, and also like to have them from day zero. This is like subnets for content curation. So this basically means that every subnet can be have their own thematic about knowledge domain or knowledge domain they are curating. So, for example, if community is in, and these subnets can change very fast, iterates very fast. Community can jump from one knowledge domain curation to another one. And for example, we have one topic for this week. This topic can change for the next week, and all contributors for this part of knowledge graph of Cybergraph, all contributors to around this topic can see another one content and information and vote for information they found useful and interesting. So this is like basic idea that you can bring some information what you are as community are interested in and vote to for themselves who is bring better information and content to the graph itself around some topic. And on a root network layer, this curation of knowledge graph where emission and rewards go can be curated by stakers. So this so these two ideas of subnets to launch around content graph curation. And for example, we can start curate information. We can start curation process about like interesting Cosmos projects, decentralized AI projects inside the graph. And that what that basically means. This means cyberlinks to this keyword. That can all contributors to this subnet can link and participate in subjective work inside this subnet, and another participants of this subnets can evaluate another participants and assign votes to each other, basically vote. And for example, with such kind of subnet, like manual subnet, we can make autonomous process process of decentralized marketing. And for example, we have subnet like hype subnet, where each participant will bring some kind of proof in for example, it can be screenshot or it can be link, whatever. They are content information that they bring to another platform and make engagement of peoples in other communities. And so they can just bring proof, bring link about this, and another participant can analyze and understand and evaluate what is it useful for projects or no, like in terms of marketing, whatever, and also assign vote for this participant of this subnet and reward them. So yes, for first coming subnets, it will be subnet for knowledge graph, some keywords curation, like this is like topics curation. And this is codename hype subnet. for autonomous decentralized for automatization of marketing in decentralized fashion. And this about manual subnets. And the second part, it's classic autonomously weighted subnets, Tensor style, and I think you will bring the main text prompting subnet that brings local large language models and running locally and using APIs to OpenAI GPTs or other different closed source, closed model CIs. And the second that I'm personally interested in and would like to participate in development or join to development of these subnets. It's about subnet for infrastructure operators that rewards them to that they bring their nodes publicly online, like not only run the infrastructure privately, but they open this infrastructure like and hosting publicly available API nodes, seed nodes, Sentry nodes, and this will create market for decentralized nodes operators. So this is how we would like to bootstrap this market. And later, this is part of our big vision because as amount of neurons, Cyberians will grow, the amount of traffic and amount of infrastructure that is needed to host all demand from the network itself will grow exponentially, and we would like to decentralize infrastructure itself and create market for operators, for node operators, to allow them to earn rewards while providing infrastructure to the network.
Okay,
Sergey,
Valeta,
do you have?
I'm gonna, well, I want to attempt to summarize what you said very, very briefly. So, Game of Tensors, we will be launching 2 subnets, and I think other participants will be able to launch their own subnets if they want to. And these subnets are like a playground for people to contribute and validate the work of others. And there'll be the hype subnet, which is kind of more about decentralized marketing and contributing ideas or concepts through keywords that people can write about and contribute via cyberlinks and incentivize one another and reward one another. It could be a party, and then there'll be a second one which is more about node infrastructure and creating some. That one I don't understand as much. Don't get me wrong, but people that have a node and can contribute to the infrastructure of how the subnet networks or how other networks work, they could all gather there and reward each other for their computation power. Was that reasonable?
Yes.
Was that about right? Nice, cool. And yeah, so sorry to go. Sergey, do you want to add something? You're working on this too. Maybe not. Okay.
Then
Anything else
if
you want to add,
you said
Valetta?
something we didn't hear you because like I have no idea, mic issue. We didn't hear your voice.
Wait, I'm sorry,
Sergey,
my voice or Sergey's?
would you like to add something about Cybertensor game of
We're
tensors?
preparing to start game of mines and made some commits and PRs in Cybertensor and Cybertensor plates. Yeah, I think in 1 week we'll publish something new and move. And now we are moving fast to launch it.
Okay, nice. So that there'll be some news and development on this in a week that'll be shared with us. Very cool. Any closing thoughts, Valletta? Maybe not. Okay. So Game of Tensors coming right around the corner.
Yes,
I know we
and
also
the
maybe
pushes
have some
start to distribute.
Pussy. Yeah, Pussy will be distributed
Yeah.
during this time, correct? Nice. We all need Pussy in our lives, clearly. Any other updates we want to share? I know Maxim has been developing Psi religiously. And Sense is also kind of a messaging Telegram-based application being built alongside cyb.ai, and they've been should be pretty close to a release. I don't know if anyone's on the call that wants to add anything about that for people that don't know.
Yeah, we still finish it. It's almost done, but small last issues is complex, so we trying to fix it.
Nice. But to repeat,
Maybe Ivo can
go ahead.
I can share, and Tyopa, you can explain more.
Yeah, you can share. You want to share the screen? Is that
Yeah,
what you
I will
just? Oh, go ahead. Nice.
Just yeah, hi everyone. Just as a little teaser, and share Sense if I can do this in Discord. Let me try.
Do you see my screen?
Which
seeing
one
the
screen do you see? Which ones?
I'm looking at Portal Temple. You got cyb.ai up. I see happy LOL in the top left corner. Syncing
Okay.
transaction data. Yeah. We see you. El Nivo.
Yep. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Oh, nice. So, Chess, will you share the screen or you want me to do this? I see we're doing it at the same time.
I think you can if you don't have issues. If you have,
let me try. Okay. So here's the current version of the Sense application, which who are new hearing about this application. This is like a Telegram type messenger where all messages and all updates about transactions, your friends and particles which you added to your brain will be show here. Will be showing here. For example, your messaging through the teleport or through this application. Let me send something. Anything. So inside this is the transaction with boot, just one boot. When you send like that, and in Memo, you're sending any text you want to send. Also, you can send any particle through the sense. Have to
Not
be
sure.
resolved.
Yeah, it will not resolved. But yeah, I think we should add it.
Yeah, it should be resolved, and it should show a whole particle, but maybe some issues recently. Still work in progress. Maybe I can go with someone else. Yeah, like that. So it should be particle. What else to say? This is like the particle which was added to my brain. So I see all the updates to this particle. Someone touching any incoming or outgoing particle to this one, and I can see it here in my sense. Here you can see filter by particles, which will be like chats with particle updates, and by neurons. This is like chats with neurons. I'm interacting with this by teleport or here in the sense application, like that. So this still works in progress. Has some issues with design, but as you can see, it's a really working already application. Some bugs, some glitches, but we work on it and testing furiously recently. So hopefully at some close time we'll be deployed to the main application type things.
Nice. Thank you, Nevo. Someone in the chat was asking about if it's okay to share messenger info publicly, but basically, Sense is a public messaging forum. Oh, well, fair enough. Yeah, we've been doing it on the community calls to share Sense and development to kind of keep you guys informed. So I think it's okay that we release it publicly, or at least the way I understand it.
Recently, this is the only way we can do that through the Memo messages, and yeah, this is fully public, so have to keep it in mind, yeah, for sure.
Looks nice.
Yeah, mostly this was made for all updates and live, which is going inside of the site application, and you cannot see. You have to check all the particles you're following. Someone comment somewhere. So since now it all will be in one application, in one chat-like application, where you can see all the updates to your neuron, to particles, and etc.
Very nice. Seems like let's see if Medney has a closing thought, and then we could go to the next topic. He's typing. Or is there anything else that we want to share, Cyber Team? And if not, if no one wants to share, then maybe we move on to community questions. Oh, Maxim? Maxim is sharing screen, but we don't hear your mic. Oh no! We can't hear Cyber Prophet. Well, I'm going to attempt to narrate Maxim's screen. And I'm pretty sure he's showing the current status of the Cybergraph. We had last week 128 active neurons. Am I doing this right, Cyber Prophet? I think I am. 128 active neurons that created 106,000 links. Yeah, 106,000 new cyberlinks were created in the last 2 weeks, and 156,000 particles. Yes, cool. I'm doing it correctly. And this is led by Cyber Academy. Cyber Academy is having a noble mission to basically move Wikipedia onto the Cybergraph. So that's why they're pumping out so many cyberlinks. 81,000 cyberlinks. And looks like we had a huge influx of passports because everyone likes some AI tech these days and they're pumping up the prices. So we had 9,000 interactions with the passport contract, which is the reason for all those cyberlinks. And then McMerritt, whoever that lovely person is pumping up 5,000. So as you can see, it's mostly Cyber Academy and the passports that's pumping out a lot of links, a lot of old-time members. And Pat Attack, he was active recently in the Cicada too. But Pat Attack is actually quite new, and he was the chat. I remember seeing him, so it's cool to see him climb. Yeah, number 6. And continuing on, what? Oh, this is the Karma, yeah, demo. Karma. It's not Master Cyb on top. Wait, that's kind of surprising. This is so. Karma is an abstraction of kind of how much information you're sharing in the network, and it seems like we have a new hierarchy because last week it was Master Cyb and Cicada, but we have a new some new faces joining. Wait, as I understand vision. Okay.
And I would like to mention we have only 1 and 2 links. Is it correct?
You are right. One or two links.
But actually, to add here, the Karma is kind of a not super fair now, we can say, because there is a cheat that you can use to get the highest Karma by just having only one. So yeah, we are aware about that, and it will get fixed with the future updates. But it's just funny that somebody came up and register an account and then figure out how to do that. Actually, so just kind of showing that somebody was curious enough to figure that out and do that.
Yeah, that is cool. Thank you for watching. Nice. Nice, Maxim. That was cool improvisation that we made that work. And yeah, Karma will be updated relatively. It's being reworked as we speak, so as Mr. Bro said, it won't be working like this and be gameable for much longer. I think that's the close. So we wanna. I'll give a quick minute to see if anyone wants to add anything. So yeah, I think it's a good time to open the floor to see if the community wants to ask any other questions on what's going on. Maybe so, maybe not. Yeah, okay. I think that was a successful call, team. And I think we're ready to close up shop.
Yep, probably.
Okay, there we go. It was a pleasure. We'll see you in 2 weeks. See you in the chat.
Yep. Thank you, guys.
Yeah. Thanks to everyone.
Bye.
Yep. Goodbye.